Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with the weekly comic book roundup. We've got a decent sized haul, so let's kick things off with Wolverine number 38, continuing the Last Mutant Standing arc. Where we left off, Wolverine and the Hulk had dealt with the Wolverine clones that were left behind from Beast's recent nosedive into straight up villainy. And so now Wolverine teams up with Captain America. So the issue opens with Logan recruiting Cap for a mission in Manhattan. With Cap pointing out that Logan is being real ballsy, though he does kind of point out that Logan does point out that he spent years fooling people with an eye patch, so But Logan's heard about the Unity Squad being back together, but it's apparently a job against Orcus, and it has to do with history. Well, it's kind of one of those things that Cap should understand. Basically, Orcus has looted Krakoa, and so Cap and Logan find a container ship in the Pacific, Orcus container ship no less. Make their way aboard, and everyone aboard is dead. There's shooting. But it seems that the container ship was robbed already, and Logan's pretty sure he knows exactly who did it. Legacy House. On another vessel, Logan and Cap make their way in, going for disguises, and we find out that yes, it was in fact Legacy House, and we get some. We see some of the various items that they're auctioning off. We've got one of Forge's, some of Forge's various suits. We've got one. I think it was a Krakoan space suit, the battle suit from early in X-Force. One of Emma Frost's corsets, the Cyclops cat. A turtle that had been genetically modified by Sinister, one of Cyclops' visors, a clone of Moira McTaggart, still in stasis, one of Magneto's helmets, and so on and so forth. The duo go to basically the storehouse of everything and aboard the boat, stating that they're going to be bringing in that they're delivering Captain America's shield. You never know with these mutants. Among the items seen are the Muramasa blade. There's a write up on it from everyone. There's also, Bannister informed Logan about Legacy House auctioning off treasures of Krakoa. Cap deals with everyone on the auction floor while Wolverine makes his way to the bottom of the bowels of the boat. ripping a hole in with his claws. Their containers are unloaded and then and kept in a secure location under the watchful eye of Nick Fury. Though Nick Fury doesn't think too terribly highly of Logan, though Cap does say that Logan may not be a good guy, but history's on his side. And that is where the issue ends. Good issue. I'm enjoying the story. Looks like next stop is going to be Wakanda. Interesting to note that it seems Krakoa was pilfered before. It can be assumed that Krakoa, the pilfering of Krakoa, was done. Those particular items was done basically before Sebastian Shaw retook over Shaw Industries, and him and Celine worked on decided to go for pilfering the island for anything natural of it that could be exploited. Moving on though to our next book, we've got X-Men Red number 16. Where we left off, Genesis had attacked Storm's forces with a rather large beast. The beast was destroyed, and within it a gate grew from the remains, allowing Genesis' forces to go directly to Port Prometheus. The issue opens on approach to Arakko. Karl of NASA is bringing reinforcements. Those reinforcements being Weaponless Zen, Not Bucky O'Hare, and the Prince of Power. Prince of Power is attempting to make the Iraqi children that are in Karl of NASA's care more. Is trying to comfort them and do a terrible job at it. But Weaponless Zen borrows a notepad and pen from not Bucky O'Hare. I can't remember the character's name. And basically draws a picture for Cobb. As Weaponless Zen paints truth. A pen can be just as useful to her as a paintbrush. But this gets Cobb to actually talk for the first time in months. But Karl informs his passengers that they're changing course for the keep. They won't be able to make Port Prometheus, as Port Prometheus isn't there anymore. Port Prometheus is being raised by the Four Horsemen. War is burning the city, and Famine simply says, yeah, that's nice and all, and then floods it. Type of flood that basically is just as deadly as wildfire. But Siza and oh god, what is his name? Well, it's never held. Kobach are retrieving a weapon though for Storm, the Uranos trigger. Uranos speaks to Siza as she takes it from it where it's being held, And Fisher King and Sunspot are trying to figure out what they're going to do with everything that's happened. But Storm arrives and promptly manages to take down both Famine and War. Famine she takes down with a lightning bolt, triggered at a water form of himself that he made, and then as well as one at him. War she takes down by with wind, pulling away as War controls fire. Well, winds can while winds can exacerbate fire, winds can also extinguish fire by pulling away its oxygen. And so, Storm is faced with death and pestilence. Death is trying to be his old charming self, though pestilence is like, let's just finish this. Gets an arrow ready, and while Death and Storm talk, with Storm asking if Death thinks that. Storm asks Death if he thinks his rules will still apply, and Death says that they have to. Or what is all this for? As Pestilence looses her arrow, however, she points out that rules are made by the winners. Nova takes the arrow and is immediately infected with Pestilence's plague, which Death states that stops Storm from carrying Nova away, adding that the plague spreads by touch, and only he can survive it. And of course, Death takes supreme offense to the fact that the challenge between him and Storm was interrupted, or was interfered with, by Pestilence, and Death removes his mask, killing Pestilence. Siza brings Storm the Uranus trigger, and, well, Uranus plainly states that if he is released, it's an hour of freedom. He will end every single life on Morocco that is not of Storm's faction. Over in the Autumn Lands, a gate forms, and through its steps, Apocalypse, saying that there he will remake the world. And that is where our primary story ends. We have a backup story focusing on Sunspot and Shark Girl. This takes place before Hellfire Gala in Brazil. The divers are being found near a cove that has legends about snakes, and well. Apparently there's so Sunspot and Shark Girl explore, and apparently the son of King Cobra, also calling himself King Cobra, is basically making a snake cult out of the poachers. The venom of these particular snakes is can be very expensive. So, but King Cobra is taken down, and Shark Girl and Sunspot managed to convince some of the other would-be poachers to that going after those things isn't worth their lives. And it's the kind of thing where tales like this spread to the point where no one's the cove will be seen as being cursed, and that is where the issue ends. The A story was strong. I really liked the kind of how they played off the horseman, Death especially. I liked how Death was characterized in Ten of Swords, and it's kind of cool seeing that characterization continue even after his time in Subleth. But the fact that he takes their rules of Araco to heart. It's like they matter to him, whereas the Pestilence, they clearly do not. Well, did not. I really hope that somehow Nova survives. I mean, this would be yet another interstellar war that Richard Rider's died in. Well, man deserves to survive one of these, But yeah, moving on though to our next book, we've got Magneto number 3. Where we left off, the New Mutants arrived at Santa Marcos and were met with what appeared to be Magneto leading something that's resembling a new brotherhood. So this issue gives the origin of Ire, the woman who kidnapped Magneto, claiming to be is now claimed to be his daughter. When she was a child, Magneto attacked Santa Marcos and took it over, seemingly with an army alongside the brotherhood, seemingly with an army at his back, though this army was an illusion of Mastermind. But Ire's powers manifested. She went home. Her father was drunk and angry, and she unleashed her powers again, destroying her home. Was in a coma for a while, and when she got out of her coma, Magneto's reign had ended. But in a way, she does kind of see herself as being Magneto's daughter. But she now states that he's lost herself, abandoned his cause, taken the mantle of the idealistic of Charles Xavier, even going so far as to take the name Xavier. During this time, Magneto went by the name Michael Xavier. With Ira even wondering if perhaps Xavier brainwashed Magneto. They go into, apparently the two of them do share a slight psychic bond, and they go into Magneto's mind, where the caged monster of Magneto within, and Xavier. And Magneto states that this was the bloodthirsty Magneto was a performance, giving humanity the mutant maniac, the raging, soulless villain they expected, even demanded, knowing that Xavier would rise up to stop him. But Ira points out that perhaps it began as a role. Perhaps he did wish for Xavier to succeed, but in his heart, Magneto knew that Xavier wouldn't. He understood humanity's savagery. His prejudice and hate would never go away, and that the monster's path is the only path. A few aspects of people from Magneto's past say that he's wrong, namely, his younger self, Xavier, and his late wife, Magda. But it seems that Ira further convinces Magneto to kind of retake his villainous mantle, and just in time as Ira's sisterhood has discovered an incoming ship, the New Mutants, Warlock version of Blackbird. And Warlock points out that they're being attacked by, apparently, Magneto. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about the whole Magneto the evil mutant was an act thing. It would make sense, especially given the history of the Krakoan Age, and the hidden history, basically, of Xavier and Magneto working together. It would make some sense. But I like the idea. I do like the idea of Magneto having been, just kind of full blown. Yeah, humanity's hatred and prejudice will never allow them to accept mutants, especially as so many mutants have seem to have they have great power with no drawbacks. Limitations, sure, but not drawbacks. Colossus can turn himself into steel and is super strong. Okay, and he can also revert back to flesh. Shadowcat can walk through walls, even walk on air if need be. Those aren't exactly powers that have huge drawbacks. Not like, yeah, you have mutants like Nightcrawler who can teleport, but he looks like a demon. You've got Cyclops' powers should be controllable, but extenuating circumstances. You've got Wolverine, who's got whose power set is, something I think most people would love. Until you kind of factor in the whole, oh yeah, but he ages at such a slow pace that, he's lived generations. He's outlived whole generations. He's seen people he loves and cares about die constantly. Some due to, and usually not pretty deaths. But yeah. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy number 7. Where we left off, it seemed that the Guardians had banded together with Grootfall. Or had kind of sacrificed themselves to Grootfall, and the manifold became Groot Space. So, the King of Space and his royal consort, Hulkling and Wiccan, are going to investigate, see what's happened. They arrive in Groot Space, noting that every planet is seemingly tied together with roots. But they find the Guardians, sort of, the Guardians of Groot Space, with Star-Lord telling them to listen up. That basically, nature's complicated, and that Wiccan manages to set up to allow him and Hulkling to understand. the flower grows, and it's all explained to them. And basically, it's all waiting there. And so, now that they understand, basically the thought was that the thought was that throughout the manifold that Grootfall was slaughter. It was an embrace. And of course, Hulkling asks how long until everyone's back. They're not going to be able to keep the galaxy away from Groot space forever. With Star-Lord saying, "Hey, you better try. Tell the Galactic Council that this place is protected, and leave it all to the Guardians." Groot needs their help. And every person that they think is that Hulkling and Wiccan think is dead is there under the soil, standing at their backs. Rocket adds that the worst is behind them, and what Groot started, Groot's going to finish. All that remains is protecting it, which is what superheroes do. As Hulkling and Wiccan leave, Gamora points out that Peter isn't worried about Hulkling and Wiccan. He's worried about his sister, which is exactly who he's worried about, and with good reason. As we then go to the Council World, 12 hours later, with Emperor Doric Vel, saying, "Hey, let's just leave it alone. It's going to be taken care of." However, Empress Victoria and the Explorers of Spartax disagree, and is like, "Yeah, no." As she puts it, she admits some sadness in seeing the great Emperor Doric Vel be so confounded by the lies of those they once called Guardians. But then again, Peter Quill is a masterful con man. After all, Sectors United trusted in Star-Lord's heroism, and, well, they kind of paid the price for it. Spared the worst of his outlaw malice, unlike the Spartax heroes, the Gilded Hunt. Heroes is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. Those guys were assholes. She adds that their pain is real and must be avenged. They require nothing of the Council except its inaction. So-called manifold territories will be cleansed of the terror of Grootfall by the solar power of the Arcanic Fleet for the safety of all galactic peoples. And Peter Quill and his band of murderers will be brought to heel. And that is where the issue ends. Yeah, it couldn't be over that quickly. Good issue though. This is definitely. I'm hoping this is a Guardians run that lasts a while, a couple years at least. That'd be nice. I think the longest Guardians run we've gotten lately was I think it was Al Ewing's run. The previous run. That lasted about a year and a half. Moving on, though, to our next book, in fact, our last book for the moment, we've got Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy, #2. Where we left off, Silver Surfer had taken Genus Vel to Monster Island, where they borrowed the Time Gem, so that Genus could potentially, somewhat, meet his father, Mar-Vell. Of course, it was not the Surfer that that took genus, but rather Mephisto, having appropriated the Surfer's form, and having used the time gem to banish genus further in time. Surfer came to Montserrat and was promptly attacked by Warlock for his theft of the time gem. The issue opens with Genus falling through time until he ends up face to face with the Fallen One. Not the first Herald of Galactus, but rather a fallen Silver Surfer wielding Mjolnir. Back on Earth, Surfer attempts to defend himself from an assault from Adam Warlock, pointing out he makes case no, he did not steal the time gem. Even with Gamora and Pip saying, they saw him. But it's made clear that Surfer did not steal the time gem, and even Pip recants his defamatory statements against the Surfer until being briefly possessed by Mephisto to expose the truth to everyone. And so now, but since Genus is lost in time and they don't have the time gem, well, the time gem, it's going to be kind of hard. It's going to be close to impossible to find Genus. But Surfer has an idea, though the Infinity Watch is not going to like it. Genus and the Fallen One fight somewhere outside of time, while the Surfer goes to the garden to speak with Thanos, who's harvesting his garden. And Thanos is... The basic idea is that, in Silver Surfer Legacy, Thanos asked Surfer for help. So now, Surfer's asking Thanos. But Thanos has to harvest his garden. Surfer helps him do so. And Surfer points out that, why does one who loved death nurture life? And Thanos points out that there is no life without death. With Silver Surfer being surprised that Thanos being a philosopher, though Thanos points out he's always been one. And it does seem that Thanos has potential. I'm guessing that somehow has the time gem himself. The fight between Fallen One and Genus has reached a bit of a fever pitch. The issue ending as Mephisto watches, and it seems that the Fallen One is about to smite Genus Bell with Mjolnir, and laughing. Interesting. Digging this. I'm largely dig this book because of the nostalgia factor, and I do want to take a quick moment to note one thing I really do like about this book, as well as previous nostalgia bait miniseries, is how so many of them have relied on the covers being done by the interior artist. Like, take Wolverine for example. This is a beautiful cover by Little Yu, and I wish so much that Little Yu was doing the artwork. Nothing against the series artist. It just said this is last name on the cover, but Juan Jose Rip. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Rip doing the covers instead of Leno Yu. Leno Yu's a good artist, but you know, maybe give your you know, if you're gonna put a new art a young artist on a book, maybe they should have the chance to truly shine by having their artwork be what sells the book, not having an established artist do covers while the younger artist is just doing the interiors. But anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.